Hello, everybody. I'm Don Counts. Welcome into Fayetteville Public Utilities, and I have our CEO, General Manager, with us today, Britt. Today, we're at the last of 2025, so we're going to look back, and then we're also going to look at the present, and we're going to look into the future. So let's look back just a little bit. We've had a pretty good year. We've had to celebrate our 90th anniversary, and so many big things happened this year.
That it did, Don, and we're all proud of what we have accomplished this year, and looking forward to a lot more accomplishments coming into 2026.
Yep, as we celebrated our 90th anniversary of rural electricity, you have been here almost 50 years. When will that be?
Be starting the 50th year next June.
Next June, okay. Well, when you came here nearly 50 years ago, the utility was relatively new. It was 40 years old, and you've seen a lot of things happen. At that time, it was just electric, and you actually saw the birth of internet here at Fayetteville Public Utilities.
We did, and that was one of the projects that we worked on, and we started building our own substations back in the day with the previous management, and we was proud to do that because we got 4 delivery points now from TVA. We only had one at the time that I came to work here, which if you lost that one delivery point, the entire county was without power except for Petersburg, because it fed out of the Belfast substation at that time, which it still does today. But a lot of improvements, a lot of way that we can move and switch loads remotely with our SCADA system, and with our new advanced meter infrastructure, we can also have a lot of other technology that's coming into the office.
There's been so many advancements in 90 years and even in 50 years in your time, because like you were mentioning, if you had a storm that would go through Kelso and knock out the substation, the whole county would go out. And that was a public relations nightmare for people who didn't understand that, maybe in Blanche, who didn't have any storms going on.
Well, that's correct, because it fed the entire county out of Kelso at the time. And, some of the areas still feed through Kelso on the 161 kV lines that go through, like Hamilton Sub, Mackburg Sub. Now, when we got the latest delivery point at Park City at 161. And today we're working on possibly trying to get 2 more delivery points if we can. We're going through the steps of working with TVA and justifying. It's not easy now to get a tap off of the TVA's 161 line like it used to be back in the day, because the grid is under so much demand now.
Yep, and the grid continues to be demanding, and you have to look for locally, for our grid, you have to be thinking about not only what we need today, but what we could possibly need in the future.
Right. If we can get these 2 delivery points, if we can get it passed through TVA, and if everything works out well, it'd be a long time before, not unless you see a whole lot of growth, big growth in some areas. But if we can get this and make this happen, we'll be set for a long time.
Good. Well, thinking ahead is very important. And as we talked about the 90th anniversary of electricity, back in the day when electricity came in, it came in up through Blanche. That's interesting, because you mentioned that our one delivery point in the last 50 years was at Kelso originally.
That's correct. And, we had the feed out of Kelso at that time. It was actually called the Fayetteville Primary Station, and it fed 2 circuits over to Brogan Avenue substation, which is right up the street here, which now we just use it as a switch station, feeding about 4 circuits out of that sub now, where they used to be right at 9 circuits that came out of that substation. So a lot of improvements.
Yeah, a lot of improvements. The first light bulb was lit in Blanche community on October 1st, 1935, and FPU and TVA worked diligently together to make these improvements that you're talking about today, and you continue to work with TVA on a regular basis now in your position. Sure.
Yes, and you got to stay in touch and keep working with TVA, and so we can keep moving forward. But it's the folks before our time that got all this started and made it happen, that built the foundation of where we are today.
Yep, and we celebrated that in May here with a luncheon, and it was a good day. And as we're going to continue to look back, one thing about your time, you actually got to see internet come into the utilities on the utility side, which was a pretty big milestone within itself. And then another huge milestone was the consolidation of utilities.
That's correct. We had to get the law changed in '96 to even be able for a municipality to go into the cable business. When we first launched, that's what we were going to do, is just offer cable, and then we found out real quick that it's going to be best to offer internet as well. And then later on, we got involved in the voice over IP.
Okay. And that's kind of how we didn't mention this, but we did this show on Channel 6 at one time. So we had a local access program that came with the cable, and then as cable went away, the cable television side, it kind of went away too, but we continue doing some of these things here.
Right. With new technology and updates and upgrades that's going on in today's world, you have to be at the best that you can be to offer those changes to our customers, because the customers expect more. And now it's getting to the point where the demanding of having fiber to the home or fiber to the business with great amounts of speed is a plus.
One thing, too, is when you first started with the internet and then Channel 6 and then cable in general, everybody wanted it, and we heard that forever. Fortunately, you are going to see everybody get internet throughout the county at some point.
Well, that's our goal, and we're out there in the county, very rural now, and brings on other issues that we have to keep updating and upgrading as we go along with offering the fiber to the home. Because
what do you feel like it'll be throughout the entire county? I mean, how close are we?
Well, right now, you're over in Flintwood area. We're back down in the Blanche. We keep expanding more as we get grant funds to get the middle mile, the last mile. All those grant funds that's come out, we wouldn't be able to do much of any of it if we hadn't had the grant funds to come in. Yeah,
there's not many people out there who can't get it now. It's real close. And I think we first started the outside of the city per se, stored Petersburg, if I'm not mistaken, one of our first internet in the county.
It is. We go up so far into Petersburg, then United Telesystems, I believe is the name of the other provider up in that area as well.
Yep. And we did go down into Park City, which originally, but it was a pretty big system, and we had a really good thing, and it's still continuing today. Now, as we talk about fiber out in the county, I guess in the next few years you'll be doing fiber throughout the city. They're on a cable plant. You might explain the differences.
Well, when we first launched, it was built inside the city back in 1999, and it was all coax plant. And we are now in the process, we got the engineering part done, the design done, of replacing the old coax plant with fiber to the home inside the city, which we're doing some boring now out in the country club. We're trying to get the undergrounds first, because it's the slowest. It takes the replacement, and then after we get some of that done, then we'll start replacing the overhead.
All right. That sounds really good. As you get out of one fire, you go right into another one as we're getting ready to work with Petersburg to do their water, a merger with water up there.
That's correct. When you get to the point of where there's no challenges, it's just I love challenges of what we do. We got good people to make it happen. And so we always look forward to a challenge.
And no danger of a challenge with you. Every day there's a challenge in your office, and better you than me is all I can say. But you do take on those very well. And as we talk about this Petersburg, let's talk about where we're at in that merging system.
Well, here lately we had a meeting with some residents out of Petersburg at the Howell Community Center, and it was very, very successful, and all the folks that showed up had very good questions. We're going to try to make the system better. That's our goal. And, it's like I said, it's just another challenge, but we're going to have a lot of things that's got to be fixed and replaced and all those kinds of things. But, we're glad that we can help them. And, it was stressed to the customers up there that we're going to do everything we can to make it better.
Let's talk about why this actually happened. We were actually giving them all of their water anyway, but let's go through the backup and explain that part.
Well, when the state comptroller's office came in, and the system at Petersburg, as far as when you have a great water loss, or if you're in financial distress or anything like that could happen, the comptroller's office comes in and they're going to say that, we feel like it would be better if you were to merge.
Yeah. Okay.
So they put an order down, and so the city and FPU decided to make the merger happen, which you weren't going to have a choice anyway. It was going to happen. But, so we're taking it with open arms, and we're going to make the best out of it.
Absolutely. Let's look at what you're thinking as we're ending 2025 when we're doing this video, what do you think in next year when we'll officially be merged into Petersburg?
Well, if everything goes as planned of what we have on the table right now, maybe by the end of January, 1st of February, then we hope to have everything worked out. It's just it's taking time, and we got to be sure that everything is correct, because when you're working with different customers, different information, different addresses, and the way that some of that is set up in the town of Petersburg, we got to be sure that it is all accurate.
And you got to merge their billing system into our billing system, and that sounds simple, but it's not as simple as 1, 2, 3.
No, it's not, and that's what NISC, that's who we do our billing through, and they've been working on that. So it's very, very important. Like they got contractors in replacing meters. We got to be sure that the device is going to work remotely of communicating back into the office. But we, like I said, we have to be sure that that meter is tied to that address with that customer.
And it's in the process of 400 customers or so?
Correct, close to 400 customers.
All right. All right. Well, something that you and I talk about virtually every day on the radio and newspaper is the utility infrastructure updates around the city. It looks like you're finishing up Mulberry Avenue. That's the one we've talked about for months.
Yes, Mulberry Avenue has been very, very challenging. I thought the Square was very, very challenging, but when you're working on Mulberry Avenue, where you got a lot of the main traffic and most of that work had to be done at night, and none of us like working at night, but sometimes you don't have no choice, but that's what you have to do is get the job completed during the night for the traffic and the safety of the men that's working. And we did get to the Y on Mulberry Avenue. We still got some more work to do on Mulberry Avenue, and we know that it's not the smoothest road there is, but we're trying to patch. Right now, the only thing you can get just about is cold mix, and look at the day you got today, and if it's cold mix, it's a cold mix.
Oh, yeah.
But you need it where it's got some heat and all those kinds of things. But we're trying to keep it the best that we can. Again, I do appreciate the customers' patience of working with us. It gets old, and I know it does. I come that way every day when I come into work. I go that way going home every day. So I know exactly how that road is, and check things out and make sure that we're trying to get it better than what it was.
When you do these kind of utility projects, it's there's a lot of people that you have to deal with, mainly the customer. We definitely want to take care of them, but you have to work with the city. You have to work with TDOT. There's just a whole lot more to it than the average person would think.
Right, and it's not that simple to fix, because when you have to dig a ditch, and some areas are 6 to 8 foot deep, and then you have to put flowable fill in on top of the line with gravel, and then you have to come back and make the taps, because you cannot just start making taps and hooking up customers while you lay the new line, because you have to go in, you have to chlorinate the new line, you have to get it tested, make sure back T and all that kind of stuff comes back. So, it's a lot more to it than what people think. It's just not a overnight job to get it done, but it is aggravating, and, we're trying to do the best we can, but we also got to keep in mind that we're working as safe as we can so nobody gets hurt. But, I have met some really, really good customers on Mulberry Avenue, and they've been really, really nice to come out and talk to us and appreciate what we're doing, and that means a lot to us.
Oh, yeah. There is a lot of infrastructure underground, and we talk about that a lot, and a lot of times you don't really know what you got until you dig into it.
Yeah, and we ran into several challenges underground, and, it's like everybody says, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind until you start digging. But, old storm drains, catch basins, old sewer lines, old water lines that's been tapped a long time ago, and you have to fix all that as you go, and it just takes more time than what you expected to get a job done. It would be easier if you was just going down where nothing ever existed and dig a ditch and put in new lines.
As you mentioned many times before, this is a 3-year project, so let's talk about what the future holds with this project, where we're going next, and what are you expecting?
Well, when we get through with Mulberry Avenue, we're on Washington Street now hooking up services. We get all that done, and then we will be extending on east, going out toward the bypass on 64 Highway, and because we got to run that 12-inch out to that location and make our other tie, and then we have to branch off it to Y and go out toward the Fayetteville Highway a little piece, and then we'll come back because we still got to put in new lines off of North Main, So that'd probably be after the weather gets warm when we get started on that. So it's a lot of areas in town. There'll be a lot of water line to be replaced, and which be a great improvement to the city.
And you work with the city on these projects as you try to find out what their paving schedule is, so you can, the last thing we want to do is tear into a road that we don't have to. So actually, you that's who you work with to make sure we're ready for this particular street.
Well, on the bigger projects that when we got started, the city gave us a paving list, and that's where we wanted to go first. If you was intending to pave this road, let us go in there and get our work done, then come back and pave the street. And so that's how we've been trying to work it. And some of these other streets, it's just based on what their schedule is going to be. But can't say enough about Jack Williams working with me. It's been really, really great of working together with Jack for the city, and it's all turned out well.
Very good. All right. One thing that you're doing, and you've done ever since you've been the CEO, is invest in their youth, and we're continuing to educate the youth in so many programs at schools, from job fairs to internships to the Youth Leadership Summit, Washington Youth Tour, 4-H Electric Camp, TAUD, pre-apprentice, and the big one that you started in 2010, I think it was, is the Student Utility Board. And we've had a very big success, and we have a lot of great youth in our community.
Yes, we do. We have some great students that come through on the Student Utility Board, and with the apprentice program that we have going on with TAUD for the water plant, that's turned out really, really good, and hope maybe someday they'll come back to Fayetteville and go to work for FPU.
I think they find out that working in the water or the sewer, it's a good, clean job. However, you've got to have a lot of education, I guess is the word.
You got to be certified through the state. You got a lot of training programs you have to go through and pass. And then, with all the state requirements, it's not easy, and you always have to stay on top of things, of how any kind of new rule that comes out that you got to be aware of to be sure that we're meeting all those changes.
Absolutely. One thing that these students do learn, too, is what we do in the community. That's one thing that I think most of them are probably amazed by. We help out in a lot of ways, and one time this past year we helped out with our FPU employee, Bailey Smith, and when she had a terrible accident, we worked with that through 2 fundraisers for her.
Yes, we did, and it was very successful, and Bailey and the family's recovering well, and we hope the best luck for her in the future. Absolutely.
FPU and TVA partnered again with the Community Care Fund, and this is a combined $14,000 awarded to Huntsville Hospital's Lincoln Health Foundation to help purchase a mobile medical unit. How did that come about?
Well, we kept looking to see what would help out the community. We felt like that would be the best. So we were made aware of this mobile unit that could go out in the rural community and work with people that cannot get into town to see a doctor or anything like that. And we thought it was really, really great to do that, because we have, you don't know how many folks are out there that's like that until you get out there. And, we're throughout the entire county, and we run up on these people, and, someone just doesn't have any means of how they can get to places, and they need that help.
Absolutely. We definitely see that. And maybe people like us take for granted we come to town every day, but some people maybe come to town once a month or even less than that.
Right.
FPU also presented $3,000 to clothe our kids, also $3,000 to Crossroads Pregnancy Clinic, $3,000 to the Fabulous 50s Foundation, and also $3,000 to Hands of Mercy Outreach. I know that was also, that funds was raised through our fundraisers, our local fundraiser.
It was raised through our fundraiser that FPU puts on, and it was all contributed by the ticket sales. So, it's not all the employees do a great job of helping out the community, and they show their support, and I really appreciate how they do support the community, because that's what we're here to do.
FPU and TVA partnered with Hands of Mercy to distribute 600 energy-saving kits to help local families. That's actually going to be happening in early 2026. You just got that stuff over to Hands of Mercy, Tina Hudson, and we went over there the other day, and that's going to be a good way for the people to maybe cut back on some of their electric use.
That's right. And, we're collecting now. The employees are bringing in supplies every day for the tree. We call it the Tree of Blessings. That will also go and help several families that the employees are donating and going out and purchasing to bring in. And that will also be going to the Hands of Mercy when we get all that done.
I know that makes you feel proud. It's right outside your office, and man, there's a lot of stuff out there, and I hope it goes to some good to people who really need it. And I think Tina does a good job with that. FPU also out in our lobbies, you see a lot of food through the program that we call Harvest of Hope Food Drive, and we are still collecting that through tomorrow. And then everyone who's contributed canned foods, we appreciate that. The benefit will go to families throughout Lincoln County through the Good Samaritan Association of Lincoln County, and that's been going on ever since I've been here, and probably ever since you've been here.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and we get a lot of items in that people bring in, and it means a lot, which it does go back out to the community, and we really appreciate that.
Looking ahead at 2026, what's some of the things that's on your desk?
Well, we will continue on with the water improvements. We got a lot to do. Got still over 2 years of work on that. We are extending the power lines throughout the county and being more aggressive on the tree trimming program as long as we can get permission to cut the trees. A lot of dead trees. The ashes have been really bad, especially when the wind gets up high and causing us problems. But we will continue on of making improvements. And, we do a 20 to 25-year plan. And, we have to tweak it every year. But at the same time, it's either a 5-year on the gas, it's a 5-year on the wastewater. And we're out, right now on the 5-year plan as far as expanding in our broadband.
As we're going through our last update of FPU on 2025, 2026 is going to be a good year. It's going to be a busy year, and just going to try your best to stay on top of it and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, that's correct. And, we just had a meeting with TVA, and we're talking about how more complex the electric grid is going to be in the future, which is coming up really quick, and we don't know exactly what to expect after the first of the year, but I'm sure that TVA is going to start making some changes again as far as rates possibility by October now, since they're trying to get a full board in place, and we'll see how that turns out, but more pressure is getting put on the local power companies to be able to provide power to the people.
Absolutely. One thing, too, on a cold day like today, I'm sure the natural gas is running pretty heavy, too.
Natural gas is running heavy, and, like I said, we're going to be expanding in some other areas for natural gas, and as long as we can provide it, we're going to keep trying to make improvements to the system and expand out.
You've done some improvements on at the water plant, too. You getting ready for more water usage?
Yes, we have applied for several permits. One permit is to withdraw more water out of the river. Up to 10 million is what we have requested. Not that you'll ever need it, but if you go ahead and get it, if you need it, we got it. So also we've also trying to get permission from TDOT of maybe attaching to the bridge across the 64 Highway east of the Elk River, of getting water in that area as we speak today. But that takes time, and you have to go through the TDEC, you have to go through the TDOT, you have to go through TVA, all those different departments to get permission to do things. And so we're waiting to see what's going to happen.
You deal with a lot of external people, including TDEC and all those people, trying to make sure we're environmentally friendly, and from TDOT, as I mentioned, and all these other people. So you have a lot of people to stay in touch with. Right.
And, you're dealing with 4 to 5 different audits a year that we have to be prepared for, that we go through. We just had an audit the other day on the ARPA money of the wastewater side, and some SRF audit that we're doing on the water side. So it's not that, you can sit back and do what you want to do. We're all under rules that are very, very strict that we have to follow to be sure that we're transparent. And when those auditors come in, you have to be prepared and prove. It's not they sit at the table and you go through it. You go out in the field and you show what you've gotten done.
Absolutely. The money that we get for certain things have got to go to those certain things.
Yes, it does.
And so that's what they're auditing, to make sure we're not spending it somewhere else.
Right.
One thing about Fayetteville Public Utilities, when you did consolidate, you're still having to keep separate books. You might explain that.
We got separate books for the gas, the water, the wastewater, the telecom, and electric are all separate books because you cannot commingle funds. You can't take funds from the gas and put it on the electric or vice versa or anything like that. We'll have another set of books for the Petersburg water system as well. So, it's a very complicated process for the accounting department, but, it's just part of the job, and we got to be sure that everything's corrected and made right.
They do a good job, and I know you're proud because with the audits, you'd find out real quick if they weren't doing it right.
Oh, yeah, and we ask for them to go deeper. When they come in and do audits, we want them to go as deep as what has to be done to complete the audit and to get it done on time, and that's what we expect to get it done. And our employees, if you have to work 12, 14, 16 hours a day to make sure that it happens, that's what we got to do.
And we're here 24 hours a day as we're getting ready for 2026. January the 1st, we're off for New Year's, and then we're off for January 19th for Martin Luther King Day. But we have someone here around the clock, and you have people on call no matter what.
24/7, got a problem, call 433-1522. If it's really bad, we have extra people that come in and help answer the phone. But, like I said, the new meter infrastructure that we put in place tries to let us notify the customers if you have a problem, to a power outage, to a water leak or anything like that. And so it's really helped out tremendously.
We appreciate what you do. We appreciate our customers, our board of directors. Anything else you'd like to say before we go?
I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Just be patient with us with all the work we have going on. And, we're having to do things differently with traffic. And we'll be working on Washington Street today. And, be back on Winchester Highway sometime after the first of the year.
And everybody, please move over when you see our crews on the side of the road. Slow down. Just be courteous because they're doing a job on a cold day that they'd like to be in a warm car maybe.
That's right. And, what we do, you have to keep your mind on what you're actually doing, and you don't have time to watch traffic.
And you've seen a lot of traffic that's not been so kind over the past year.
Well, we're really lucky because we have some people that just bust through our signs and our cones and get close to running over some of our people out there working. And I don't know if they're not paying attention or what's going on, but I sure don't want to get nobody hurt, and it'd be really bad if we did.
Yeah, please be careful, pay attention, and drive safe out there. And if there's anything on the side of the road, just move over. It's the law.
It's the law.
All right. Yeah, appreciate what you do, Britt Dye, our CEO, General Manager, on our FPU update, and we'll be back in here in 2026 for more updates each month, and we appreciate you watching.